Okay, so here we want to find the second derivative of this function. So we're going to take a look at step number 4. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write f prime of x, which is going to equal 4 minus x over this. Remember, this was x to the 1/3 times 6 minus x to the 2/3. Okay, so if we want to be able to solve for this, what we can do is we can take the natural log of both sides. So if we take the natural log of f prime of x, well, that's going to equal the natural log, move that down just a little bit further here, of 4 minus x over x cubed, x to the 1/3, times 6 minus x to the 2/3. Okay. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to use the law of logarithms. So in step number 3, we have the natural log of f prime of x. Okay, and let's go ahead and rewrite this as the natural log of 4 minus x. And that's going to be minus the natural log of x to the 1/3 times 6 minus x to the 2/3. Okay, now we're going to expand this a little more. So we have the natural log of f prime of x, which is going to equal the natural log of 4 minus x. Okay, so we're going to be distributing this sign to both of this expanded product. So that means it's going to be minus the natural log of x to the 1/3 minus the natural log of 6 minus x to the 2/3. And now we're going to rewrite that using our exponents. So using the power rule of logarithms, we have the natural log of f prime of x equal to the natural log of 4 minus x minus 1/3 times the natural log of x minus 2/3 times the natural log of 6 minus x. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take the derivative of both sides. So when we take the derivative of both sides, what we do is we're going to take the derivative of f prime of x, which is f double prime of x, and that's going to be divided by the derivative of the natural log of f prime of x, which just becomes f prime of x. Okay, and so next we need to find, okay, what is the derivative of 4 minus x? Well, this is 1 over 4 minus x times -1. This becomes minus 1/3 times the natural log of x, is the derivative of natural log of x, which is 1 over x. And then minus 2/3 times the derivative of 6 minus x, which is 1 over 6 minus x times -1. So let's simplify that right side. So again, we still have the second derivative divided by the first derivative. Okay, so if we multiply this by -1, well, that means is this is -1. We can change the denominator. If we change that by -1 and multiply that by -1, then we get 1 over positive x minus 4. Over here we get minus 1 over 3x. And over here we get a negative times a negative, which is going to make this positive. 2 over 3 times 6 minus x. Okay, so now where do we go from here? Well, we already know what f prime of x is. We got that over here. Okay, and so what we need to do is we need to multiply both sides by f prime of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this side by f prime of x, and then we're going to multiply this side by f prime of x. So what that means is we can eliminate the f prime of x, and so then we have f second derivative of x. Okay, and then we have f prime of x times 1 over x minus 4 minus 1 over 3x plus 2 over 3 times 6 minus x. Okay, so what do we know? Well, we know that f prime of x is equal to 4 minus x over the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. So, step 9, we have f, or the second derivative, is equal to 4 minus x times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. And then we're multiplying it by those three terms. 1 over x minus 4 minus 1 over 3x plus 2 times over 3 times 6 minus x. So let's go ahead and distribute this. So we have 4 minus x over x minus 4 times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. And we have minus 4 minus x over 3x times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. And then this is going to be plus 2 times 4 minus x over 3 times 6 minus x times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. Okay, so can we simplify? Well, we can definitely simplify and make this into a more simpler result. So if you notice here that this is x minus 4 and that's 4 minus x, which gives us negative 1. So let's go ahead and write that out. So we have negative 1 over the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. Over here, if we distribute the sign, the x becomes positive, so it's going to be plus x. And the 4 is going to be negative, so that's x minus 4 over 3x times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. Then over here, if we distribute the 2, we get 8 minus 2x all over 3 times 6 minus x times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. Okay, so now we need to find the LCD. So the LCD, if we look at the last part here, we need a 3 and an x. So we know the LCD is going to be 3x times 6 minus x times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. So we know that is the common denominator. Okay, so we just need to find out now what is missing from one denominator to the next. So we know for the first one, is missing 3x times 6 minus x. So we got to multiply -1 times 3x times 6 minus x. Okay, so that's -1, which makes that -3x. So -3x times 6 is -18x. And -3x times -x becomes positive 3x squared. Next, what's missing is 6 minus x. So we got to multiply x minus 4 times 6 minus x. So we're going to go ahead and multiply that out. So if we multiply that out, we end up getting x times 6. So we have 6x minus x squared minus 24 plus 4x. And then what's missing from here to here is just x, excuse me. So what's missing is x. We're going to multiply this by x. So if we distribute the x to both of those terms, we get 8x minus 2x squared. Okay, so now we can combine like terms. So what can we combine? Well, we have a positive 3x squared. We have a minus x squared, and then a minus 2x squared. So what happens there is that all eliminates. Okay, and then we have 6x plus 4x, which is 10x, plus 8x is 18x. And so when we add those with the negative 18x, those also eliminate. And so the only thing we have left is negative 24. So we have negative 24 all over. Draw that line again. So negative 24 over 3x times 6 minus x times the cube root of x times 6 minus x squared. So can we simplify even further? Yes, we can. We know that 3 goes into 24 8 times. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have f double prime of x. We have negative 8 in the numerator. And so we have an x in the denominator. We have 6 minus x. Now remember what this looked like as fractional exponents. This was x to the 1/3. So this is times x to the 1/3. And we know this is 6 minus x to the 2/3. So if we multiply this out, we get negative 8 over, well, x times x to the 1/3 means you got to add 1 with 1/3, which is 3 over 3 plus 1 over 3, so that's x to the 4/3. And this also has an exponent of 1. So 6 minus x times 6 minus x to the 2/3, that's 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3. So that gives us 6 minus x to the 5/3. So that represents our second derivative.